Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome all the new subscribers. I hope you enjoy the stories and the writing tips and the few book and movie reviews I have. Today, this video has two purposes. Purpose number one is to thank Gothic Therapy, Master of the TDS, and Writing Raven. Beautiful, wonderful people. Their channel will be linked in the description below. Who sent a whole bunch of people over here and pushed us up helped to push us up, our subscriber count. I'd like to thank Sporking News, Scott. Just a terrific dude. He can talk your ear off, but he's just a terrific dude. Culture Casino, Mad Mardigan, That Star Wars Girl, Geeks and Gamers, Gary at Nerdrotics, Ryan Kennel, Fat Steven Seagal, Lorena Creel, this fellowship. And though we kind of have spread out a little bit and we're not on each other's stuff all the time and like we used to be, it is this fellowship that has encouraged me and taken my writing to a new level. Now, I'm at 506 subscribers. Let's see here. Do this. Let's bring this up. Bring up this picture here. Because right now I'm at 506 and here's the screenshot, right? 506, 32 in the last 28 days, most of those this weekend. Thanks to, like I said, Scott and Sporky News Podcast description. His channel is linked in the description below, as well as Gothic Therapy. And lots and lots of support on Twitter, the last place you'd think it would be. So that's the first, is just a big thank you for reaching 500 and hopefully way beyond, right? Hopefully in a lot less time than it took to get to 500. Though my understanding is this stuff is exponential. But the second reason for this, and it was, I see this question all the time, okay? And here's the question. All right, it is, hey everyone, I'm looking for some recommendation for apps to use on MacBook for my book writing. What does everyone recommend? Well, my response was as follows. It was Microsoft Word. Just sit down and write. You have everything you need in your head to write. If you grew up in America, at least, which is the education system I'm familiar with, you had grammar lessons, spelling lessons, vocabulary lessons from the time you were in the first grade until you were in the 12th grade. Everybody. Granted, the first grade stuff was very basic, but once you got to about 5th or 6th grade, everything was repetitious. So you have that knowledge in your head. It may be buried, but it's there. You know how to speak, you know how to write. Don't. All of those tools, Scrivener, Story, I would argue just about everything, including Grammarly, is a distraction, okay? One of the common problems that writers have is they think everything has to be perfection, right? This is why nobody stops tinkering with their work. Look at Star Wars. How many times did George Lucas redo certain things? He still didn't fix that scene where Luke jumps whenever he turns on the lightsaber, but there we go. Anyway, I digress. You have the tools. And it doesn't take special talent to write a story, to tell a story. You've been doing it all your life. When you come home from school, your parents ask you, how was your day? Maybe you have a story to tell them, and you did. When you come home from work, your wife asks you, or husband asks you how your day was. You have a story. When you're relating something that happened in the past, or an anecdote. That's a story. You know how to tell a story. In fact, I would argue you probably know how to tell a story far better than Disney, Warner Brothers, Netflix, Prime. These people making content in the mainstream, they don't care. They don't want to entertain you. They want a message to you. They think they're going to make money from it because they don't really care. If they cared, they would take, for example, I've been offered 2 book deals. They've read my book and said, but you don't have enough diversity. I'm like, the book's is about elves and dwarves. Well, what if you introduced a trans character? Well, I can't. Well, why not? Because I'm not trans. I don't have an understanding of their headspace. I wouldn't presume to be able to write that character because all I would do is insult people, right? That's what the mainstream's doing, isn't it? Yeah, if they really believed in this stuff, they wouldn't be taking things out when they try to sell it to China. So tell your story. Tell it however you want. Try to be true. For example, the transgender thing. If I don't understand from within what it's like, then how can I write that? Correct? I mean, I would have to interview people. I would have to try and understand things, and I have to get a wide group of people, right? Now, I have a story coming out Saturday. It's called The Colonel and Sally. It is a Western, and the Colonel is a former Union soldier who grew up in the South, and he burned his father's plantation, then married a house slave, a former house slave, after the emancipation. And they're not necessarily good people, but they're bounty hunters. So there's going to be some racism in there. It's a period piece. It's just after the Civil War. So that's something that I can tell a little bit. I'm from the South. I understand certain amounts of prejudice and racism and what it really is. But it's not central to the story. There's going to be some things that come up because of the way the historical context is. And I'm sure I'll get in trouble for it, and there'll be some people that hate me for it, but that's just the way it is. You have to tell a story. You have to be true to it. You can't change it just because somebody wants you to. You don't need outside tools. Writers have there's a problem with procrastination. And because of that, when you procrastinate, adding tools to it, it's just about perfecting things. It's a distraction. These tools that are being marketed to people to help them write are distractions. F. Scott Fitzgerald didn't have tools. William Shakespeare didn't have tools. They had pen and paper. They had typewriter. Well, F. Scott Fitzgerald had a typewriter. They didn't even have computers or word processors or anything like that. They had to know what they were doing. And the only way you can know what you're doing is to write. So I tell people all the time, people send me stuff to read and give them my opinion and things. And I do privately. And I even give them hints and tips. I like when I criticize people to give them a couple of good things for every bad thing. I try to give them ideas on how to fix the bad things. I try to give them ideas on how to expand the story. But I'm not telling them what to do. They know what to do. They know what their story is. It comes from within, right? And if there's a message there, the only message that should be in the story of entertainment is a subconscious one, right? It's just like dreaming, because it comes from in here. So your values, your mores, your personal experience is what define that, right? And if people don't like what I write, the subject matter or the story, I mean, they don't have to like it. I'm sure with over 100 stories on my channel, there's something they will like. So again, I want to thank everybody who has helped me get to over 500 subscribers. And I'm looking forward to the next milestone. I'm going to be on the Saturday dump with Scott to celebrate the 500 on Saturday, on the Saturday dump this week. And then we'll go from there. But I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I hope from here on out you guys will feel free to tell me what you do not like about my stories as well as what you do. So remember, as always, your life is your story. Make it a great one. Good night.